And Kamala Harris are hitting the campaign trail in the battleground state of Pennsylvania today. This, as CBS News polling shows, a razor-thin edge between both of them. Harris is leading by just 3 percentage points nationally and by just 1% in battleground states. CBS News Election Survey Executive Director Anthony Salvanto explained earlier today there is one factor contributing to how close this race is.
One reason this race is not just so tight, but doesn't move very much, is that each camp, Harris voters, Trump voters, not only disagree on what should be, but also have very different views on what is today. Take a look at one example. Let's look at hurricane relief, which has been so much in the news. And these differences, majority 2/3 of Trump voters feel that hurricane relief funds have not been going to people impacted by the hurricane, but 9 out of 10 Harris voters say that they are.
All right, for more on the race for the White House, we have a team of our campaign reporters based in Washington to break it down for us. Let's begin first with Jake Rosen, and then we'll pivot to Nidia Cavazos. So, Jake, let me begin with you. The Trump campaign this morning. What can you tell us about the event today that's going to be held in Pennsylvania?
So Donald Trump will be in a Philly suburb later today. The campaign has really spent a lot of time focusing on the central and western part of the state. He's coming back towards Philadelphia, where Republicans have been outspent in the state, though a ton of money has been going into Pennsylvania politics this cycle. And the campaign has really made an emphasis of courting these voters on economic issues in the suburbs of major cities. We've seen Donald Trump go to the suburbs of Harrisburg repeatedly, the suburbs of Pittsburgh repeatedly, and now he'll be in the suburbs of Philadelphia. This comes off of a weekend where Donald Trump was in Colorado and California, 2 states where he is extremely unlikely to win, as we know, Vlad. But he's making the same argument to them that their lives would improve, same as any of these battleground states, on things like immigration and the economy if Donald Trump gets reelected.
All right, Jake Rosen reporting for us from Washington. Jake, thanks very much. Let's bring in Nidia Cavazos, who is now breaking it down for the Harris campaign. So, Nidia, the vice president is in Pennsylvania as well this morning, but she's targeting her message specifically to African-American men. Explain why she's doing that and how it fits into the context of what we heard last week from former President Barack Obama.
Good morning, Vlad. Vice President Harris will be focusing on courting specifically black men throughout this week, and we're going to be seeing it through different campaign efforts and as well as today in Pennsylvania. But the reason here is because while this is a group that still heavily supports Democratic candidates, they tend to lean Democratic, and Harris does count with the same level of support among this voting group as Biden did in 2020. The catch here is that among this group of voters, black voters specifically, talking about these voters, they tend to lag behind white voters when it comes to voter turnout. So the challenge here and the goal for Harris is to make sure that black men end up turning out. And we ended up seeing it this morning as well with Vice President Harris unveiling new policy proposals that are also directly targeted at helping black men. For example, she's also unveiling policies that providing 1 million loans for black entrepreneurs, national health initiative that is intended to focus on diseases that particularly impact black people. And all of this is an effort for her campaign to do outreach and to make sure that black voters, and especially black men, end up turning out to vote in November.
Yeah, although, as you point out, Nidia, 80% of black men do support the vice president. So that's not anything to sneeze at. Nidia Cavazos for us reporting from Washington this morning. Thanks, Nidia. As always, we appreciate you.